Okay, everybody, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever the case may be. This is the US dollar index as it's below 97, which is kind of a key inflection point. We're seeing it break this uptrend that you see here, which started probably back here in September with the low in 2018 going up. It continued on this trend. It almost broke it in March 2019. We saw the dollar trend up a little bit higher, kind of in this ascending channel, and then now we're seeing it break. There's been a lot of news with the Mexican tariffs, and there's been disruption in some of these markets with prices kind of gyrating all over the place. But in my opinion, people should not look at silver under 15 as being fearful that it's going to go lower. You should actually be confident, and that the price of silver, the price of gold, is going to be going much higher. To me, it's an illusion that it's taking less dollars to buy the same amount of silver. Silver should be in the 15, 25, 30 range, not 14.90. So people who have a little understanding between the physical markets and the COMEX, paper, Ponzi, fiat, fractional reserve, derivative markets, there is a big difference. One is illiquid, one's piled with massive debt, and derivatives. There's estimated to be trillions of dollars in derivatives for every one, for every contract there is on the COMEX, and it's definitely not something that the naked eye can spot quite easily. You have to have a little bit of experience dealing with buying and selling on eBay, for example, which is a worldwide market, and you can actually see the effects of taxes, premiums, spot price, all these variables that interact with the actual price that you pay, including the eBay fees, PayPal fees, all these things considered. I'm not seeing any prices go down on anytime soon. The paper market ultimately will catch up with the physical market, and we will see that this paper market is just an illusion, as the US dollar is just an illusion of wealth. It's not wealth itself. These little pieces of paper, IOUs, let's just show this what a Federal Reserve note is. It's just a piece of paper. It doesn't mean it. And for 50 years we've been lulled into this lackadaisical situation where people have no idea about value, about wealth, what retains its wealth, what's valuable, what's price and value are not something you pay. Value is something you get. As Warren Buffett, the puppeteer for the Federal Reserve and the fiat Ponzi financialization of markets, he bought 130 million ounces. He was bullied out of his position in the late 90s, I believe, and there's no looking back since. And so a lot of these larger purchasers of silver have been bullied out of their position. They are not allowed to hold massive quantities. The CFTC, the FTC will come after you if you have too large of a position in the derivatives market. But he had physical, and if you take delivery like the Hunt brothers did, you can get into some major trouble. You can get accused of manipulating markets, of hoarding, and people don't realize that it's not so recent that it was illegal to actually own gold. And can they do that again? Can they make it illegal? Well, there are a lot of YouTube presentations that I've been watching arguing that they might be able to do something like this again in the future. Could they do it with silver? That's another argument that people have, and it's another reason to stack coins, semi-numismatics. I'm not too big on bullion. I don't like the buffalo round. I think it's a waste. I think some of these other generic silver pieces are just, it makes you feel good, like you got a good price. But when you actually go to resell that on eBay, how liquid is your position? You're going to have to wait for a long time for the price of the spot to actually catch up with where you're trying to sell it. Then you're going to have to consider taxes, eBay fees, PayPal fees, all this other stuff, unless you go through a private dealer or you go to a pawn shop, which the pawn shop's not going to give you hardly anything for your, fantastic generic silver collection. That's why, people need to diversify. They need to get into semi-numismatics and numismatics, because that's where the real value is going to be made in this paradigm that we find ourselves in, transitioning into the new paradigm. $11 trillion in negative interest rates bonds around the world. It's a race to zero or negative. And I appreciate it. It does help a lot. Thank you. Peace out.